So this is the final preview we're going to get before the game comes out.
On day 3 of my visit to Capcom in Osaka, Japan, I once again sat in a dimly lit conference room. I was playing Monster Hunter Wilds, empty cans of coffee and tea strewn around my station. "You must be tired of being stuck in here playing," said a friendly employee. And
no, I'm tired of waiting. Give us the game.
All I could think was, I wish I could play more.
Yes, exactly.
This is after I played the first 5 hours of Monster Hunter Wilds story and hunted 4 monsters in the Oil Well Basin in a different play state.
I'm not excited for the
just
splitter
couldn't
though.
get enough. There are so many nuances to master with the new weapon and gameplay
That one
features,
and the other one.
I'm the type of person who wants to figure out exactly how everything works through repetition and experimentation. I am a guides writer. It comes with the territory.
That
But because of my
weapon
limited
is
time,
sick.
I needed to focus on the main story. That's fine. After this hands-on, I know I'll enthusiastically spend hundreds more
wait.
hours in the game once it's out.
I can't wait.
I beelined
to
it
fight
through
the
the story
spider?
to make sure I could see
I don't want to,
everything
but I have
could,
to.
and in doing so, I crafted and upgraded only what I could as I went.
Alrighty.
You probably need
That's
to
the
join
basic
me when
loop
I
of
have to
Monster
fight the
Hunter.
spider
Hunt
to help me.
monster, make better equipment, hunt stronger monster, and sometimes hunt some
Sorry, what is that?
hunt strong.
Hunt the new Udra. Do we know what that is, or did they just slip one in? Just like, they're not gonna notice this. Like, what is this? I have no idea, friend. Do they even have an arachnophobia mode? I don't think it's not that bad for me though. It's not that bad. It's just that they're disgusting. They don't look like they don't look cool. They don't look interesting. They just look gross. And they sound gross. They move. No.
Stronger monster, and
No.
sometimes hunt something multiple times to get what you need. With my minimal preparation, I hunted the first 7 monsters: Chatacabra, Kamatrice, Congalala, Lalabarina, Balahara, Dashaguma, and
Dude, these names.
Congalala and monsters.
You know Pokemon got a Pokemon song? Like every name? Can we get a Monster Hunter name song as well? Listen to
Chatacabra,
this.
Kamatrice,
Sounds like you're like Chatacabra, go.
Cabra, Kamatrice,
Kamatrice, go. Get what I mean?
the first 7 monsters: Chatacabra, Kamatrice, Congalala, Lalabarina,
Congalala?
Balahara, Dashaguma, and finally a repel quest for the Leviathan, Uthduna, without much trouble and never once carded.
So cool.
When I played Monster Hunter World for the very first time, even Toby Gadachi gave me trouble.
Your furniture is gonna start levitating. That's good. What is it? What is the spell? It's Wingardium Leviosa, right? That's good. Especially especially this name. Sorry for going back.
Kamatrice, Congalala,
It's good. It has to be Congalala, or Congalala is the one that like puts me to sleep.
Lalabarina,
Maybe it's Lalabarina. Lalabarina. I don't know.
Balahara, Dashaguma, and finally a repel quest
I have
for
no
the
idea.
Leviathan, Uthduna, without much trouble and never once carded.
Frishawakadu.
When I played Monster Hunter World for the very first time, even Toby Gadachi gave me trouble, so I was surprised to encounter such little friction while playing Wilds. I was actually so surprised that I went back and replayed the story
I
in
love the
Monster Hunter
Frishawakadu
World
meme.
through Anjanath, the 7th large monster. Well, the answer is, I've just gotten a whole lot better since I first played World, even though by that point I had been playing Monster Hunter since the very first one on PlayStation 2. I easily ripped through everything in world up to Anjanath, who then made me sweat a bit.
No
before I
wonder she
defeated
like
on
it
my
looks
first
like she
try.
knows what she's doing
It's
in these
funny
reviews.
because I felt the same as when I
She has
played Monster
actually
Hunter
played the
Rise.
games.
I thought to myself, this feels so much easier, and in some ways this could be because of the fun zippy wire bug mechanic and other factors, but that feeling was largely due to my increased skill as a player after 600 hours in World and Iceborne. That's not to say I'm now some pro-level monster hunter. I'm certainly no speedrunner, but I've improved enough to notice. I'm bringing this up because I often see this lamentation in the community, questioning perhaps is Monster Hunter simply getting easier? I would suggest that we may just be growing into better hunters.
Yeah, it has to be like a combination of we're playing, everyone is like we're all playing more games, like in general, right? And there are a lot of action RPGs. So I mean, I get that things seem easier, but we also have to like recognize, as she's saying, that we might just be maturing and just getting better, like overall, right? And having accessibility is not making the game easier, it's just making it more accessible, right?
Things are certainly becoming more streamlined and accessible. See optimal health and status recovery.
I think
Streamlined and accessible.
I have not watched this
see
video.
Optimal health and status recovery and the focus mode that makes it easier to aim, but the developers' goals don't suggest they intend to make Monster Hunter easier. Monsters have been adjusted to account for the new focus and wound systems, and the art director and executive director of Wilds, Kaname Fujioka, said the difficulty in Wilds generally follows suit from World. Series producer Ryozo Sugimoto added, "We've been incredibly careful in Wilds to guide players to the fun of Monster Hunter without changing the core of the series."
Oh, yeah.
And I very much feel that. Wilds immediately
Fighting in
directs
mud
players
is
into the
gonna be a
meat of what
pain.
Monster Hunter really is, hunting large monsters that could be set-piece bosses in other games. The main missions smoothly integrate many small monster hunts and
What is
gathering
that?
as part of the story, which is a wonderful way to teach players about these necessary activities without them feeling like a roadblock.
If
Game
it's
looks
honey you're
so
after,
good.
I know the perfect spot.
I admit I'm conflicted about all of these upgrades. I find myself always wanting to pull a back in my day and describe some archaic, ludicrous thing we used to have to do just to get by to be able to enjoy the game. Like delivering explosive powder stones from the top of a volcano while avoiding Gravios and Ioprey, and then doing it 3 more times because the quest didn't count as cleared unless you were the one who posted it and your whole party of 4 needed to clear it to join the next quest.
Oh,
I
wait.
suppose I'm trying to say Monster Hunter has come a long
What did you
way
say?
from the top of a volcano while avoiding Gravios and Ioprey. Like delivering explosive powder stones from the top of a volcano while avoiding Gravios and Ioprey, and then doing it 3 more times because the quest didn't count as cleared unless you were the one who posted it and your whole party of 4 needed to clear it to join the next quest. I suppose I'm trying to say Monster Hunter has come a long way and making it less convoluted.
Was that like a problem before, or is that a problem now? I did not catch that. It was before, right? Yeah, okay.
And stripping away its non-essential bits and pieces has made it more palatable to a much larger crowd. Now it's largely just delectable meat with the occasional bone and dessert. There are no bitter vegetables to power through to be able to enjoy
like
everyone's
15
favorite
seconds.
parts, except maybe grinding for a specific material.
What do you think we'll find?
And while on one hand I'm overjoyed that so many people have grown to truly
It's like when you're
enjoy
watching an
something
anime
I
and you have
love,
so many
there was
questions. If you just
something
wait
about
2
being one
minutes,
of the
you'll get
few
all
who
like
prided
most of
themselves
the
on eating their
answers.
vegetables with a smile on their face. Even so,
I look
the
like
evolution
snot.
of
I'm so sorry.
with a smile
This just straight up looked like snot. Why do I have to say everything I think?
on their face. Even so, the evolution of Monster Hunter has continued to impress me. The nostalgia I have for how things used to be doesn't cloud my judgment enough to make me misremember how I actually felt more often than not about needing to gather dozens of mushrooms and herbs and wyvern eggs before I could just finally hunt. This is tedious, and my god, please just let me kill a monster.
Dude, that jump scared me.
Wilds delivers the thrill of hunting a monster faster than ever before. The main story immediately spits you into the thick of things, and you'll have hunted your first large monster in the first 20 minutes after.
I was about to
customizing your
comment on it, but like I didn't know if I wanted to. But yes.
character and Palico. There are no Kessidon kerfuffles to contend with. You are one of the chosen hunters to protect your fleet from the big bads, and so that's what you do.
We're okay now.
The action of these monster hunting quests are seamlessly woven together with narrative tasks that drive the story and exciting
Chocobos,
cutscenes that
so
drop
cool.
you right into the fray.
We'll meet up later.
Travel is often accompanied by NPCs who progress the story with dialogue, so little time is wasted. The entire experience feels full and is structured like a more traditional RPG, as you aren't posting quests from a board and loading into a map like in previous Monster Hunters. At the same time, you still have robust freedom to explore and discover things on your own without having your hand held. I'll need to play more to discover exactly how the new decoration system and ingredient farming work, but it does appear you'll still need to keep up on eating and inventory
love
management yourself
mushrooms.
to be the best hunter you can be. I do hope there are challenges ahead that will require adequate preparation to succeed, as that's where I think Monster Hunter shines its brightest. But I do believe I may have encountered at least one of those in the Oil Well Basin.
I think these might be tracks.
We discussed the Oil Well Basin and the 4 monsters I hunted there at length in our interview with the developers. But to
that
summarize,
looks-
Rompopolo, Ajarica,
That fight, like what is it called, like fight intro, looks sick. When you first for the first time find
hunted there
discover
at length in our interview with the
the
developers.
monster.
But to summarize, Rompopolo, Ajarican, Gravios, and the area's apex, the Black Flame New Udra, inhabit the Oil Well
Oh,
Basin,
that's
which
what
is
it
designed
is.
to be more vertically connected rather than the more horizontally laid out Windward Plains
That's
and Scarlet
cool.
Forest.
That's cool. I like
Though
that.
it's filled with lava and
Looks like
mucky
Venom
oil
turning.
silt, it's
Kinda
inspired
does.
by the deep sea and the inhabitants of the ocean floor. This is much
cool.
more apparent during the plenty, especially at night, where deep into the Oil Well Basin takes on an ethereal blue hue to contrast its muddy palette during the fallow and the bright,
Ah, this is
burning
gonna
red
be- this is
oranges
gonna be
of
fun.
the fire spring. The change in climate sometimes made me feel like I was in an entirely different place, and this was even more pronounced in the Oil Well Basin. The appearance even changes quite drastically from day to night, which add even more variety to these vast, large, diverse maps, meant to be 2 to 2.5 times the size of the maps in World. I feel like I barely got a handle on the layout of the Oil Well Basin while hunting, and will likely need to make a concerted effort. And this was even more pronounced in the Oil Well Basin. The appearance even changes quite drastically from day to night, which add even more variety to these vast, large, diverse maps, meant to be 2 to 2.5 times the size of the maps in World.
2 to 2.5 times bigger than the maps in the world. Now I must say, like the maps in the world didn't feel like really big, but it's still twice as big. Okay, it is twice the size.
World. I feel like I
That's
barely
huge.
got a handle on the layout of the Oil
That's
Well
massive.
Basin while hunting, and will likely need to make a concerted effort to learn its flow and remember
Do
where
you know what
things
else is
are,
massive?
like the very helpful environmental traps. As for the monsters I faced there, they were a unique and impressive bunch. Rompopolo is absolutely grotesque and makes great use of its environment by injecting gas into the ground to cause
course it
large
does.
explosions that bubble up from beneath the
I
oil
do
silts.
love like
When I beat it down enough,
navigating
it
through
deflated.
mud,
A
and then we have to
hilariously
dodge
sad sight I was
exploding
delighted to
gas.
experience.
Got it on the ground.
I can see Ajarican giving some players a bit of trouble. It's an ape-like fang beast that's aggressive, fast, and strong. It also just looks cool. How its body glows when it gets ramped up is magnificent, as is one of its strongest attacks, which looks kinda like a fiery Sonic the Hedgehog homing attack.
that's cool.
Though
Okay, that's pretty
Gravios, a
sick.
returning monster, has been a pain in the ass to fight in previous games with its hardy HP pool and super
Yeah,
tough
they
defenses.
showed a video
I found fighting
on
it
this.
in Wilds
It was
much more enjoyable.
I couldn't find myself to enjoy that video a lot.
Its hitboxes are more finely
Another
tuned,
monkey to
and
get
the
filtered
developers
by,
were able to
true.
gradate the toughness of its body more specifically, so it was easier to land hits on the points I actually wanted to get at.
Where Jang can like actually go.
I also didn't get hit by seemingly unfair
no,
hip checks,
just leave.
which was a welcome change. Gravios has a new attack the devs were happy to be able to implement too. A beam focused on the ground that turns the immediate surroundings into molten rock that persists with a fiery effect for a few seconds.
This is gonna be.
When it comes to the Apex New Udra, wow, that thing is awesome.
This game
And
is
it
gonna be
also
awesome.
really threatened to kick my ass. It's the only monster that carded me during my playtime with Wilds, and I had the hardest time getting a read on its movements and intentions.
Only that? Oh.
New Udra is an octopus-like cephalopod that uses a skeleton entirely new to the Monster Hunter series. So of course, I wouldn't have any familiarity to rely on. Its tentacles can all move independently of each other, and it hits hard.
No, this is not even close.
Multi-directional attack patterns seem to encourage teaming up with friends or at least NPC support hunters too. New Udra is uniquely beautiful. The sensory organs on the tips of its tentacles glow when it intends to use them in an attack, and occasionally covers itself in oil silt and engulfs itself in flames.
I'm gonna play
Another
Lance.
cool use of the environment by an oil well basin inhabitant. One of its attacks even resembles a dangerous fireworks display. Truly, New Udra is an impressive sight to behold. A slithering, octopus-like, menacing creature engulfed in flame, hell-bent on your destruction.
What?
I'm really looking forward to how this creature is incorporated into Monster Hunter Wilds' story, too. I had no real context around the monster hunts in my time in the Oil Well Basin, as I could only really experience the hunts themselves after the quest start and before the quest complete screen. So all I can really tell you is that the monsters I fought in this build were high rank, as well as my equipment. The build I played in graphics mode on the PS5 also performed significantly better than the open beta test.
Okay.
The monsters and environments acted as they were meant
So the
to
build
for the
that we
most part,
played on
and I
was
didn't
just
experience any
poorly
jarring
optimized.
graphical issues or bugs. This comes with the caveats that I was offline playing in single player, and that I, personally, probably wouldn't notice if there was a small graphical stutter while fighting for my life.
Oh.
But if you're in it for the gameplay, I can confidently say that Monster Hunter Wilds works well and looks good, in my opinion. I'm especially impressed by the fire and lava effects I saw in the Oil Well Basin.
Yeah, it looks good.
Wow, what a view!
It looks
One
awesome.
of my biggest curiosities is how Wild's story progression will work in multiplayer, as it's one of the best parts about Monster Hunter and something I haven't been able to experience in Wilds outside of the open beta test. But I'm told you'll be able to play through the story with friends without the roadblocks encountered in
Yeah.
World, which is the most important factor to me.
That's
The
very important.
impressive variety of monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds, both in appearance and behavior, and the environments I've seen have so much attention to
That's
detail that
gorgeous.
it's clear how much care the
That area
developers
is
put into
just
the
looks
series.
so good.
Monster Hunter Wilds, both in appearance and behavior, and the
Alright, this area just looks so good. I know like it changes, obviously, but like this is just gonna be awesome.
environments I've seen have so much attention to detail that it's clear how much care the developers put into the series. This is especially so after speaking with them about it. Truthfully, I could yap about Monster Hunter for
It is
days,
nice to
but
get up
I'll leave it at
for
this.
some air. I agree.
can't wait to sink another 300 hours into a new Monster Hunter.
Nice.
Thanks for watching our preview on Monster Hunter Wilds.